This video will show you how to read the University of Calgary's retention rules. Retention rules are authoritative schedules that indicate how long to keep paper and electronic records in your office. They also indicate when and how to dispose of records. Approved retention rules provide you with the authority and knowledge to properly dispose of your records. To find retention rules, go to the University Archives website. Click on the Information Management tab, and then click on the Master Records Retention Schedule or MARS tab, and then click on the Retention Rules tab. Retention rules are grouped according to general retention rules or specific retention rules. General retention rules cover records that are common to all offices at the university, such as drafts and working papers, circulars, and temporary information. These records tend to have a short or limited usefulness, and then they are recycled or shredded. None of these records have enduring or archival value. Specific retention rules cover different record series that are grouped according to the function of that series. For example, if you have records relating to financial transactions, such as accounts payable or accounts receivable, these are activities that are found under the Financial Management tab. Or if you have student academic files in your office, you would check under the Academic Operations tab. If you're unsure about what each functional area covers, just click on the name. A short description of each function is included at the top of the page to let you know if you're on the right track. Each of these functional blocks is taken from the university classification system, which will be described in another video. Once you have found the correct functional block, check the list of retention rules that relate to the activities within that block. Then click on the link to bring up the retention rule. All retention rules have the same template, with the same types of information that will tell you the what, when, who, how, and why for each record series. The top portion of the retention rule will tell you the name of the retention rule, what primary in the university classification system these records fall under, and what the function or activity is documented by these records. Finally, this portion of the rule will indicate what records are covered by this rule. Below this descriptive information is the actual retention rule. The first area you should check are the boxes indicating who this retention rule applies to. The Office of Primary Responsibility, or the OPR, is the office or offices which have the main responsibility for a function or activity, and whose records best reflect that function or activity. The Office of Secondary Responsibility, or OSR, is the office or offices which do not have the main responsibility for a function or activity, but whose administrative needs require a particular retention period for a series of records. Once you have established whether your office has primary or secondary responsibility for these records, check these boxes to find out when the retention for these records is over. This information not only tells you when the retention period is over, but when the trigger date or start date is to start applying the retention rule. In this case, the retention period for the Office of Primary Responsibility is over at the end of the fiscal year, 7 years from the creation of the records. For Offices of Secondary Responsibility, the retention period is shorter. Records can be destroyed after 3 fiscal years. The next box will tell you how to dispose of your records. Unless records have permanent value, disposition will either be by recycling, for records that do not contain confidential information, or by shredding, for records which do contain confidential information. Since all retention rules apply equally to both paper and electronic records, always ensure that your electronic records are deleted after their retention period has expired. The retention rule also provides you with a link to the procedures and forms that will assist you in correctly disposing of your records. Finally, the retention rule will indicate why these records should be disposed of according to the retention schedule. To find out this information, click on the Citations link. For Offices of Primary Responsibility, the Income Tax Act provides the reason why these records are required to be kept for 7 years. For Offices of Secondary Responsibility, units indicated to the University Archives during research for this retention rule that the 3-year planning cycle was an adequate time period to retain these records. And that is how to read a retention rule. Each rule uses the same template, so you'll always know the who, what, when, why, and how of disposing your records. If you have questions about other topics, please check out our other videos. Or if you have specific questions, please contact us at uarc@ucalgary.ca. Hopefully this video has helped, and thanks for watching.